To draw your attention, if I may, to this article, which is the Sunday Express front page, National Show of Unity over tax disaster. I'm really pleased about this, actually. Farmers across Britain staged a defiant show of unity yesterday to make it clear to Rachel Reeves they will not let her decimate their futures without a fight. Tractors rolled into towns and villages to talk about the devastating inheritance tax changes that are happening to farms. There seems to be this enormous dichotomy between what the reality is, or what the farmers are saying, and what the government is saying, the number of farms that are actually going to be implicated in all of this. And they delivered a petition to number 10 Downing Street, signed by 250,000, a quarter of a million people. Well, joining me now is David Exwood, who's a farmer and deputy president of the Farmers Union. Good morning.
Morning, David.
Lots of our viewers and listeners said they saw your protest yesterday with the tractors, with young farmers who were very depressed about their future, who can see no future for themselves. They're worried the family farm is going to be dissected to pay the inheritance tax the inheritance tax when the farmer actually dies. Can you give us a sense of how the farmers feel?
So what you saw yesterday was, farmers coming out because they're scared. This strikes at the very core of why we do what we do, and it's taken confidence from an industry that was already at record low levels and taken it to a whole new depth. But the real thing about yesterday was it was a day of unity, but it was farmers, there were vets, there were tractor dealers, there were politicians, there were MPs, councillors, there were all kinds of people came out right across the country. And that shows, yes, we've seen tractors in Westminster, but this is farmers right across the country. And that shows the depth and the strength of the feeling. And it's that strong because it matters.
Well, Downing Street says, it doesn't affect many farms. I think Downing Street said it's 550 farms. The NFU says, hang on a minute, it's not, it's 70,000 farms.
Look, everybody gets this. The only place that doesn't get this, I think, is the Treasury. It affects everyone because everybody has to think about how they have to manage with this tax now. So even if you're not liable, you might be. It's undermined confidence. Everybody's looking at, do I invest? Do I carry on? It's damaging food production because it's undermined the confidence of the farmers of this country. And the government have got to change. The message from yesterday is we're not backing down. We're not going anywhere. This has been brought in an unjust way, and they have to change it.
Is part of the problem here that you've got a metropolitan government with people who have no experience, have never been to the countryside as far as I can see? You've got DEFRA being represented by MPs in constituencies like Streatham, that great agricultural belt of the United Kingdom.
Look, I think even people... The message from yesterday, even people in urban centres get it as well. It's not a hard concept to understand that you need your farm to be able to farm. And if you are forced to sell parts to your farm, you can't carry on. It's not difficult. You don't need to live in the countryside to understand that. I think DEFRA understand that. I think, I say the only people that really don't get it now are the Treasury, and they just have to find a way to change their thinking on this. They've got to make a move. They've just got to find a way to do it.
Do you see that happening?
I think they have to. You can see from the strength of feeling, we're not going to wait. This is going to carry on. I suspect they know they've got it wrong, but they just can't find a way to admit they've got it wrong. So that is the challenge now, is how can they find a way out of this? And you can see from yesterday, they need a way out.
I know channels like this one are covering it. I didn't see the coverage on mainstream media that it should have been.
I think it was there. I mean, I saw stories on local TV and radio right across the country.
Good.
I think that was the point about doing a day of unity across the country. It was there in local news and radio. And of course, I saw many MPs outside Long Farms yesterday, but they'll have seen it on their local news. And when they go back to Westminster tomorrow, they'll be talking about it in the House of Parliament about what happened. So actually, that was the purpose of yesterday, to get out and show the feeling in the country, get people talking right across the country, and then that conversation will come back into Westminster.
And of course, the government has to save face here. Is there a way that the NFU have come together, the Countryside Alliance have come together with a roadmap, how government can back down, but without being seen to be backing down? I think we've lost you actually there. Duncan, that was David there, David Exwood, talking about the farmers' strike. Do you think that is the way forward, some sort of roadmap, so the government doesn't look like it's backing down but realises it's made a terrible error?
Well, that's basic politics, isn't it? No politician likes to have to admit to making a mistake or doing a U-turn, because people like you and I pop up here on Talk and just go, oh, look, it's another U-turn. The Countryside Alliance and the National Farmers Union are great organisations. I'm sure if they put their heads together, they could probably provide, as you say, a roadmap or blueprint in order to say to the Treasury, look, you know, why don't you look at doing this instead? My gut suggests that feelings regarding this are so high. I think ultimately what we might see is a Treasury being forced to move the limits regarding when the inheritance tax kicks in.
Let's ask David. David, do you see that happening? I know we've got you back. Do you see that happening, the government actually changing the threshold? Is that a way forward?
Yeah, look, they could target this so much better. They said they want to go after rich landowners. They could do that. There's so many ways they could make this better by making a few adjustments. They can keep, they can keep the substantive measure. We recognise this is not about getting rid of it 100%, but what they can do is make some changes to make it work.
Yeah. Really good to talk to you, David. Thank you very much for your time. David Exwood there, farmer and deputy president of the Farmers Union. That's the point, isn't it? What they want is to stop people buying the land, pretending they're a farmer, but not actually farming that land.
Exactly that. So you change the thresholds as to when this inheritance tax kicks in. And you save a bit of face because you're not abolishing the policy completely, are you?
I still think the fact that supermarkets have come out in favour of the farmers is quite significant.
It is, and also you've got to remember a lot of these supermarkets donate heavily to political parties as well, including the Labour Party.
Yes, I'm thinking of one particular supermarket.
Oh, you know.
Right at the top of my head. But anyway, Duncan, thank you so much for coming
Always
in.
a pleasure.
It's been a great
Thank you
pleasure.
for having me in. See you soon.
Brilliant to see you. Yes, see you soon. Duncan Barkstead, broadcaster, who's joined me for the last 2 hours. Loads of you getting in touch. This is Mike in Whitney. Hi, David. I totally disagree with Duncan over needing immigration to staff the NHS. Rubbish. If net 740,000 people are coming here annually, many to work in the NHS, surely only over the last 5 years the NHS would have a waiting list for staff, not patients. The question is, of course, whether they want to do those jobs. Good morning, David. The term "we" is too inclusive when talking about the situation we currently face. Many commentators say we have allowed the decline of our country to happen. We have not. The politicians have. It is their legacy, and we now have to clean it up. Shameful that we pay for such deliberate harm. Thank goodness for Talk TV. Thank you for your kind words there. Also, Dr. David, the Labour government particularly couldn't care less about integration. All they're interested in is securing the immigrant vote. I'm also minded, actually, the government wants to drop the voting age to 16. Just think about that. The immigration problem goes way back. In the 50s and 60s, there were ghettos forming in places such as Southall and Brixton. We have never encouraged integration. So a current theme there from Jackie. Thank you very much, Jackie, for that. And Gary says London is a separate country. The vast majority of the population elsewhere in the UK have no idea of what is happening. It will be too late when society breaks down. Keep all of those messages coming in.